estate, but with God and
Mm-hmm.
praying. And I finally had the pleasure of meeting you in person at Squat Up in
Yes.
Orlando. So a
Yep.
little backstory on us. And that's the cool thing. You meet
Mhm.
you meet people along the way and you connect in a whole different level. So anyhow, tell us
Yep.
a little bit about yourself, how you got into real estate and all the good stuff, the 411 on Tiana.
So I've been in real estate now. I just renewed my license. It's been 8 years this month. And yeah, and a couple years ago, I decided to jump into the investing side. I got experience with helping investors buy investment properties themselves or fix and flips.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept asking myself, why am I not doing this myself? And found Pace Morby on YouTube and was like, well, I don't know about that, because there's so many different people on YouTube. And I kept seeing Jamil as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's like just a YouTube person, right? They're not real. It's just somebody out there,
Right. Yeah.
fake, who knows? And then one of my girlfriends in the community is a agent in Virginia, DC area. And she found him too. And I said, well, why don't you join? You be the guinea pig. And I'll let you know how, or I was like, just let me know how it goes. And I trust her. She's one of my good friends. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is a real deal. She's like, you got to get in here. You got to check this out. Like, this is a whole different way of doing real estate. Like, cause we both were in the traditional real estate retail world.
Mm-hmm.
And as most people know that are in the community, this is a whole different world. And so with that being said, I was mind blown. I was like, I can't even believe there's so many different ways of doing real estate. But I've been in for about 1.5 years now, and I've done wholesales, now listing novations with other wholesalers who are out of state. And I just signed up to partner with somebody within the community yesterday to build a team here in Atlanta as a unicorn agent.
Awesome.
So,
and for people that don't understand the unicorn agent because they're not in the group, do you want to just explain what a unicorn agent is?
Sure. So a unicorn agent is not only a traditional agent, a unicorn agent is somebody who is educated and or experienced or both with creative financing, somebody who is familiar with seller financing, taking over mortgages subject to the existing mortgage, wrap buyers, which is a whole different thing. Yeah, and I mean, there's YouTube videos all over the place about it. Just doing things creatively. Novation listings is basically a wholesaler that got a property under contract, and it's more of an on-market property, and then an agent like myself lists the property. And everybody is happy, and there's different ways to do real estate. It's not all just retail. And so I'm also educating other agents. I had lunch with one today who's been in the industry for 40 years, who's a fix and flipper.
Wow.
And she was mind blown when I told her. She's 67 years old.
Wow.
She is an open book, and she was like, she leaned forward and her eyes were like popping out of her head when I told her, do you know what a novation is? No. And I asked her all these questions. And so now I'm teaching her, and she has a team of 25 people.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Isn't that something else? I mean, it never gets old with me. It's like combining nursing with real estate. There's certain things that just never get old when you're speaking with realtors. And I too have had that similar experience this past week too. So great intro, Tiana. We're going to go down to Mamadou. I have not had a chance to stalk your profile yet, my guy. It was on my list. I try to do some due diligence before I interview people, and I've been so busy, but I know a little bit about you from Kalisha, because when I interviewed her, we talked a little bit about what you do. So tell us a little backstory about what you were doing before you got into real estate and just a Cliff Note version of your background.
Got it. Shout out to Kalisha. I actually helped her get her first creative finance deal ever. Guys, so my name is Mamadou Diallo. Mamadou meaning the well praised, and Diallo meaning bold. That kind of summarized my journey a little bit, because I was a commercial agent in Belgium about 4 or 5 years ago. In Europe, I used to work for the international railway companies, which is the high-speed trains in Europe.
Oh, wow.
And and then I had other businesses on the side, which one of them was a car business. And one day I was looking at my lunch break at the office. I was looking for a warehouse to rent, and I landed on this YouTube video talking about this concept, wholesaling real estate. And the guy was saying he made something crazy like 800,000 from his mom's basement. And I was just listening to it and going, okay, it sounds like this guy is talking about flipping paper. That's kind of how I understood it. Like, go find ugly houses, flip the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I started scratching my head. And that day went back home. This is about 2018. Went back home, went down the rabbit hole that night to watching every single thing I could find of that, because I've been trying to do real estate in Belgium. And one thing that people need to know, I don't know about the UK, but in terms of in Europe, the French country side of things, is you can't do real estate like here. Like the number one, all data is private, right? You can't walk to the county here and say, hey, give me the pre-foreclosure data, right? You're going to jail. Okay. Two, you can't start doing things like wholesaling, for example, right? Which allows you to start obviously with no money and no license and all these things. And I was like, okay, I've been going back and forth here. My family's been in the US forever. So I was like, I have to come and prove this concept. Like, there is no way, if this thing works, then in the US is where I need to be. And
Love it.
from discovering that video to quitting my job took me about 3 months, honestly. So I followed my last name, which is Bold, and then I quit, bounced, came in the US. And I think the next day I started, and how I started is I went to PA to a real estate event, and the guy was like, hey, listen, just drive for dollars, find ugly houses from your car, put them in this application, and then start calling them. And that's like AB. And then I started doing that in PA. So I decided, you know what, I don't want to go to a 9 to 5 anymore, because I'll be like restricted and all these things. So, and then Uber and Lyft is perfect, because I can shut down my application anytime. Not only that, I can kill two birds with one stone, meaning I'm bringing in income, because at the time that I decided to go through this journey, I was going through a divorce at the same time, and my now 5-year-old daughter was about to be born. And so you got to bring income. And then on top of that, I can find properties, because if I drop, so what I started doing is taking a customer from point A to point B. And then at point B, I'll shut down the app, and then I'll drive, find properties. And then I'll go to the airport, line up again, and then make my cold calls from the car. And that's exactly how I got my first deal 8 months in. It took me 8 months, 8 months of imperfect actions. I'm so grateful I haven't finished school, so I don't overthink things. I don't overthink things. And so with that being said, 8 months in, I found this deal, which was a referral from somebody from the car, like a passenger, because I learned, I think it was in a book, and he was talking about the 3-feet rule. And he said, because one thing I started doing is stop listening to music. I turned my car into a literally real estate school. And he said, hey, listen, there is a 3-feet rule you need to apply in life. That means if anyone is 3 feet away from you, never let them leave without telling them what you do in life, because that might be your next referral. That might be your next business partner. That might be your next private lender. And I was like, boom, I'm going to start applying that. So I started playing games with it. Anybody who gets in my car in the back seat, super tired after work that they hate, I spark a conversation. First, I ask them about them. Then they ask me about me. Then we go down this rabbit hole. Then I'm like, hey, look at my phone. I'm in real estate part-time. And if you know anybody in this neighborhood or wherever you live, if they're looking to sell a house or the house is beat up, if I get the deal, I'll pay you between $2,500 to $5,000. This was my exact pitch. And that worked 8 months in. And my first deal ended up being a pre-foreclosure. I made $68,000 assigning that deal. I did what is called an LLC assignment. And my real estate journey from there with the pre-foreclosures, that's how it started. And I used to make $35,000 a year in Europe.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
Wow, I'm just like trying to like recap all of that, because at first, like we have carp vibes. Wow, this is a great interviewing program. I enjoy watching this. Like, so I'm just trying to like recap everything, because at first I was thinking you're from Jamaica, because you sound a lot like Kalisha, and I've done some medical missions in the Dominican Republic. So I'm like, wait, is he from Belgium or? So where's the accent coming from?
My accent is coming from multiple. So I grew up in a refugee camp in Belgium, from the
Oh,
age
okay.
of 11. And in Belgium is a weird dynamic because it's a very small country, and
Mhm.
there is three different. So you have French, you have Netherlands, and you have Dutch, and they
Mhm.
all don't get along.
Wow.
And me coming from West Africa as a child, if you want to get along with everybody, just speak their language because they all don't get along.
Mm.
If I meet a Netherlands person, I better not speak French. I'm getting cussed out. If I want a good job, I have to speak both languages. Plus, in the refugee camp, for
Oh.
the Americans, that's not a foster home. Completely different. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
refugee camp is basically if you don't have any parents and you flee. Because back then I fled from a country that was raged with war, which is in Ivory Coast. Back in 02, 03, there was a huge, war, political war. And
Mhm.
so
Wow.
you arrive there. If you're like, I had to go through that camp. And when I arrive at that camp, you have multiple people from multiple different countries. So children from Rwanda, children from Iran, children from Afghanistan, wherever the case may be, that don't have parents anymore.
Mm.
And you're all growing together. And then you have social workers taking care of you guys. You have to go to school. That's where I actually learned my English. My English is
Wow.
self-taught in that refugee camp. So my
Mm.
tongue, the way I like to describe it, is a twisted tongue from multiple different languages because I do speak multiple.
Wow.
But I am born in West Africa originally. That's where I'm from.
Well, like, I'm sorry if I seem a little bit overwhelmed, but like I have some tears going on welling up because I worked at the University of Michigan as a nurse
Nah.
for much of my career. And so I have always been fascinated with other just countries and accents and just
Mhm.
everything. It's just always been so fascinating to
Mhm.
learn. And I always call myself, okay, get over yourself, Kim. You have white woman like privilege and like suck it up, buttercup, because like I
Mhm.
come from kind of a crazy background
Mm.
too, and so does Tiana, which I
Yep.
won't disclose,
Yep.
because it's your story to tell. But I left home very early at just
Mhm.
over 12 from a lot of
Uh,
abuse. And so like you can
mm,
either become a
mm.
victim, you can,
Or a
or
victor.
yes, thank you. Like, and so my mind is just
Yeah.
going
Mhm.
like that story, Mamadou, is just wow, wowzers.
Yeah.
Like you just seriously just took something and just look, now you're like here in the US and you're in what state are you
Uh, I'm in Atlanta right now. I
in?
just moved here. I
Atlanta.
used to be in
Oh, you
Maryland.
guys
Now
are
I
in
live
this,
in Atlanta. Yeah, yeah,
you're in the same.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I just noticed that she said that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We haven't
Okay,
connected yet, but yeah.
awesome. Wow,
Mhm.
that is like quite a story. Have you ever thought about putting that story on paper?
I do. I'm thinking about it right now, to be honest with you. But you know how you have the imposter syndrome sometimes, like, who the heck care about your story? Nobody knows you, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I'm in that phase of absolutely. I definitely do is on my vision board.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I'm known enough yet to for anybody to care about reading my story. So, but the way I look at it is funny that you said that because I feel like nowadays, back then I used to be super angry about this and growing
Mhm.
up alone and all these things. But I
Yeah.
realized, number one, even when I was at the camp, typically in life, when you're going through challenges and hardship, you feel like you're alone until you
Mhm.
start talking to others that are going through challenges, and then you start being grateful for yours because of how worse theirs are.
Yep.
And that's what happened to me in that camp, because honestly, like, some of my, at least for me, it's my mom died of a natural death, right? But
Mm.
there's certain kids that I grew up with is like their whole parents got completely, like literally killed at war in front of them. So it's like, okay, I have, I could call some of my siblings on the phone even though they're not present physically.
Yep.
So that gratefulness, now that that I'm a little bit wise, I'm like, okay. And then number two, if I hadn't been through that journey, I feel like it's almost like, not to try to be religious. I am a Muslim, but I did study the Quran and the Bible. And the story of Joseph, the Quran and the Bible have that is similar, is where he was
Mm.
sold as a slave, and then because of his story, because of his journey, he became the king of Egypt, right? So
Mhm.
basically his journey was God molding him and getting him ready into becoming that. And that's
Yep.
how I look at mine. It's like I had to go through this. If I hadn't been there, maybe I wouldn't be where I am, the man I am, the way I think. I wouldn't be speaking all these multiple different languages, travel all over Europe. So now I look at it like, okay, God was molding me for something bigger. Plus, I wouldn't have a story to tell, right? Couldn't be sitting here and be interested in any way, shape, or form. So that's how I look at it. So it's a blessing. I am grateful to God for taking me through that journey and enjoying every minute of it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I always have something to say, and I'm like literally speechless because I've done the other part of it, like ministry and reaching out and doing outreach. And like you have those two kind of people, the ones that just completely have it as a crutch and can't rise. Like I always say, it's like you can run, face everything and rise, or just completely lay down and throw the towel in. So you definitely need to get the story out. I'm a published author. I'm working on my memoir. So I would love to connect with you off of this interview and figure out how we can, when you're ready on your time, how to get your story.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, because that's amazing. And it's interesting. Circling back to real estate, I had the pleasure of interviewing Kenny Van Boxel, and I learned a little bit from him about what it's like to do real estate outside of, I think he was in the Netherlands, and to a lot of those different nuances that we don't even think of. Like you can't even do the same things that you can do in Europe here. And so like we're complaining about certain things like the due on sale clause and having to like spend a whole bunch of hours on the phone with lawyers and insurance agents, and PCs, and we don't even realize the privilege that we have to be able to even do creative finance and solve problems in unique situations like we are, you know? And so he definitely opened up that whole light of like, wow, it's really like that in Europe. Because again, if you don't know, you have nothing to compare it to. Just like you weren't able to compare anything outside of a camp. I wasn't able to compare anything outside of my world when I was growing up. And so you don't know what you don't know. And this is what I love about talks is like you start off with real estate and you go down you go down rabbit holes of other things that are like more important than housing. Stories about people that have just triumphed through craziness. So brother.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna jump in here real fast. Testing. Yes, there's an echoing happening.
Okay, yeah, I was hearing myself. I was hoping you were.
I can hear it too.
I can hear it. Like, that's the first time it's ever happened. So thanks, Derek.
Yeah, no problem.
It's getting better.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I'm trying to follow Mamadou's lips, and I'm like, wait, something's missing. Like you can hear me now. I'm echoing. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna step out. If you all get taken out, jump back in, and we're gonna keep this live.
Rolling. Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna have each one of you step out real quick and then jump right back in with the links that you have.
Okay.
First
time for everything.
Yeah.
First time for everything.
Okay, so then I'm going to not end the stream. I'm going to hello. No echoing. Okay, say something, Kimberly.
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's good. No echoes.
No echoes.
Tiana, say something.
Hey.
Speak. No echoes. Beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful. All right,
Great.
we got one more to go. Okay, I was
like, am I the only one that's hearing this? And I was like, wait.
No,
you were echoing and he was cutting out.
Yeah, right. And so I'm over here trying to like smile and type.
I know. I was like, does anybody else hear that?
Okay, so Mamadou, say something, brother.
Hello.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, we're back in. All right, keep it moving.
All right.
Keep it moving. Okay, we're good,
Thanks,
guys.
Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
This is why I love the Morby media team, because Derek is like he's like a fly on the wall that's just waiting to be like, help me. And that's why I always like to give shout outs to the Morby media team, because it takes a small army to pull this off with texts and emails and going back and forth. So
Hey, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's resurface back to it. So yeah, just talking about the nuances between being here in the US and being in other countries, like it's a real thing. So let's jump into the deals on what got you here on the podcast. So Tiana, I'm going to start with you. Tell us about the deal, how you found it, what you emailed Taya, and all the good stuff.
So the deal that I had was something that kind of fell in my lap, just being in real estate. I was still fairly new within the community and learning, coming from the retail side. But a friend of mine had a rental property that he could not rent on the market. And he got an offer from another investor for a subject to and seller carryback deal, wholesale. And he called me knowing that I'm in sub 2 because he doesn't know about sub 2, but he knows that I'm in it. And he goes, hey, I got this offer. My mom told me that it's a scam. It's a scam. What is this about? And I said, well, can you send me the contract? Because I was like, right away, I was like, this is an opportunity, but I wanted to see what the contract was and the terms. So he sent me the contract and it was a real offer. And I told him, this is a real offer. It's not a scam. This is real. I said, however, do not sign that. I can do better. I can get you a lot more money down. And he goes, really? And I said, yes, do not sign that deal. And I looked, the person was not in sub 2. So I was like, all right, well, I don't feel like I'm stepping on any toes and nobody was under contract. So I was like, we're good. And so right away I sent him the new terms of what I was like willing to find for him. I posted it in the group, in the free group, the sub 2 free group. And literally it was like 4:00 in the afternoon. And I got about 250 people that night reach out to me. Whoa. That's how good of a deal it was.
Yeah.
Wow. It was crazy. I was like, what in the world? I had to turn my phone off. It was that crazy. I was like not expecting that at all. But I had people getting into a bidding war of how much they were willing to pay me to get that deal. Wow. I was like, I have never in my life had that happen in real estate, like on a traditional thing. Nobody's going to pay, be like, hey, I'll pay you this much commission. I'll pay you that much commission because I want the house so bad, So I built a buyer's list because I have all those people as buyers. And it was a house that was completely renovated. It was a ranch on a full basement. It was being rented to 2 separate tenants on the top level and the bottom level. And it was a 2.9% or 2.8% rate. Nice. The house was valued at about $525,000 in a great neighborhood. And so that's why everybody wanted it. And the guy that I ended up selling it to and the downstairs level ended up putting in another wall, and he rented it out to 3 tenants rather than 2. Nice. Because there was a driveway. The previous owners, the ones that we were doing the sub 2 for, put in a separate driveway entrance to the back for the bottom level. So it was completely separate entrances for the house. And so, yeah, he owns it now as a co-living, and he's killing it. Nice. And the people that owned it before, they no longer have to pay the HELOC and the mortgage because they were floating the mortgage and the HELOC for months and months and months. And I was able to make $20,000 and didn't go through my broker.
I mean, boom, 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 boom. Like,
I know, right?
I was like, oh my gosh.
Was that your first deal then? That was close. That was a pretty epic close right there. That's amazing. Yeah. I didn't know what to ask for because I don't know. I guess I was like shrinking myself down a little bit, because I guess it was like just the imposter thing and the insecurity, not insecurity, but just the not being knowledgeable about what this whole world is, because I was used to the traditional world. Right. So I put on there a $15,000 assignment fee. But you know what happened? The guys that got it under contract originally, the contract was about to fall apart. They decided to not buy the house. But in their contract, it was so they could daisy chain. They could find another buyer. And I didn't know how that worked. I was like, what in the world is going on? But then they found another buyer.
So then it was a daisy chain. They tagged on an additional $10,000.
Ooh.
I was like, what? I could have made $30,000 on this deal. But
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I'm happy they brought a buyer. So we closed. That was the most important thing. But yeah, $30,000 assignment fee on that easily.
Right. Yeah. But it just goes back though. It's that transition period of not having that confidence because you're just now, you had an opportunity that God gave you and said, here, Tiana, go with it. So you just ran with it. Just like Mamadou, Ubering, going to the airport, making calls, telling everyone what he's doing. When opportunity knocks, it's an answered prayer. So of course you're going to go through that door. Just like in nursing, I went from ICU nursing and being a director of nursing and being a migrant outreach nurse in the fields of Southwest Michigan to educating lawyers on the phone, being like, no, this is how you do it with a land contract or a sub-2. And it's intimidating because essentially you are trying to educate somebody that has a degree in their own respected field. That's like me telling a surgeon, I don't think you should use that kind of suture on that. It's intimidating, but you always have to advocate for yourself and others, knowing that you're going to have this safety net, this village that we have. You're always going to be able to find a solution with a unique, creative answer because we have that built in. And that's what makes this group so powerful because someone's going to have your back. If I don't know it, Mamadou's going to know it. If Mamadou doesn't know it, Pace is going to know it. If Pace doesn't know it, someone is going to have a solution.
Yeah. And you know what? With that being said, during that whole thing, when it was about to fall apart with the original the buyers that got under contract, I was scared because I was like, I don't want this to fall apart. Like I got this deal and I'm about to get paid without my broker taking 50% of it.
Oh, right.
Right.
Oh,
like,
right.
That was like, no way am I going to lose this deal. But I had no idea what I was doing. So I had to connect through somebody that I met in sub-2 when I was like meeting people on Zoom calls. And I reached out to him. It was 9:00 at night. And I said, hey, I don't know what to do. I'm really like unsure. And he goes, are you available? He got on the phone with me at 9:00 at night for an hour and walked me through it and said, you're fine. You got this. And that was because of the connection I made through the community. And he said, if it doesn't work out, I can help you you'll get it. Don't worry. I got you. And he didn't ask for anything. He wasn't asking to get in on the deal. He wasn't asking to get paid. He was literally just being genuinely helpful with me.
And I mean, how you make people feel is your brand. How people feel after you've left that conversation is your trademark in business. And that's huge because the same thing happened to me. I was in Gator. I had my first house. This is before like any big mentorship, and they banned short-term rentals. And so I was like, oh shoot, I don't have an exit yet because I was brand new 2 years ago. And my now partner, Frank Leone, was like, no problem. We're going to do a land contract and we're going to do this and we're going to walk you through it. And boom, at that point, he wasn't my partner. We were just in the whole due diligence of checking each other out. And he, just like you, 9:00 at night or whatever time it was, he talked me through it and was like, this is what we're going to do. And it is what it is. And he never asked for any money, or I offered to pay him because I was like, wait, how much are you going to how much is the service gonna no, we're good. I got you. And so literally this is what it's all about. So kudos to you, girl. For whatever reason, I didn't know that was your first deal. How come I'm just now learning this? I've known you for like a year.
Because you're too busy doing podcasts and Q&A sessions.
Seriously. So Mamadou, we're gonna go back to you and I'm gonna recap just a little bit because of the audio and everything going on, because I don't know if that's going to be lost. So you're coming from Belgium into the US. You come from a refugee camp as a youngster. You just hop through all these hurdles. You're doing all these amazing things when you're young, transitioning through seasons and storms and lessons, and then wind up in the US. And you're Ubering people, you're on YouTube University, you're doing due diligence on all these different mentorships. and then you fall into real estate and wholesaling and connecting and collaborating and consulting all the things. And so what deal actually got you here on this creative podcast?
It's a recent deal, pre-foreclosure one that we closed, and we made $63,000 on it. And this was through a door knock. This is here in Atlanta,
Wow.
on Ellenwood. And what happened is, what the newbie that found it, the amazing one of the first thing that is amazing is not really the big check. It's really like the newbie that found the lead.
Yeah.
Is somebody. So one thing is, I moved in Atlanta here overnight. To be honest, I was like, I needed a new challenge. I have been helping dozens and dozens of newbies get their first, second deal in sub 2 for a long time. I do Zooms, Q&As for free all the time. And then I was like, you know what? Let me go to a new city. At this point, I was in North Carolina, and here and start a workshop for newbies, but in-person workshop. And that's how all these people started coming and learning pre-foreclosures and all these things.
Yep.
And she has been in every single mentorship you can name. She's already spent, I don't know how much in, and haven't closed a deal. It's been 2 years, right?
Wow.
So and worked even on acquisition positions for, quote unquote closers, and never had done a deal. And so she found this lead through, at first, so it was a cold call first, and then the seller ended up ghosting, right? Is a pre-foreclosure. And then she went to the door and knocked the door, and then these two, I guess, sisters, just so happened that this property here, they've inherited the property from their mom a long time ago, and for whatever reason, life happened. Maybe they lost their job, but they no longer have the income to keep up with it. And they're also completely out of this world in terms of mentally. Like, you can't even talk to them. So they're like, hey, you gotta talk to our dad. So my business partner Andrew, he got on the phone with their dad, who was now willing. Hey, I'm just gonna help them offload this property. He wanted to first pay it, right? He wanted to get caught up on the arrears first. The issue with pre-foreclosures, as you guys know, oftentimes they're gonna ghost you up to the day of the auction.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we kept following up, and the dad was like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay. Just sell it. And so we ended up, convincing them to go under contract. I think they were behind, I forgot the details on it, but I think somewhere around like, what, 25, 85, 85. So they were behind like
grand. They were in arrears.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So we put them under contract. I think we helped them get cash to move out. All they really cared about is, hey, now the property needed all kind of work. Since they inherited it from their mom, they've never renovated anything, not even cleaned it. We went there to walk through the property. You could not breathe inside the house. That's how bad it was. But the thing is this, right? Because she started coming at the workshop, she's learned that there is no cheat code as far as like the follow up. Because she could have given up at the steps where the seller said, yes, I am going to sell, but then ghosted completely and then no longer answering the phone. And you know how sometimes pre-foreclosure sellers lose, like, they don't even have money anymore, and then the number get disconnected.
Yeah.
And so if she didn't go to the door, we would not have, gotten the chance to talk to the father in the first place, right? And so my outside of making the big check, just assigning it, honestly, we made $63,000. We didn't even flush the toilet in this house, like literally. Right? But it's really for her that like, okay, it's been 2 years, I'm trying to do this.
Wow.
Blah, blah. She made $10K, partner up with us on that, and all she did was go door knock there and talk to them once. After that, we took over. My team took over, right?
Wow.
So those are the kind of deals that I really love, on top of helping those two sisters that were completely lost out of here, and now they can transition, go into something cheaper. Because every seller we work with, we always help them transition into the new chapter, right? We don't just buy it and just let you. So that's really the only part I love about the deal is for this newbie, because I know so many newbies that spend so much money on X mentorship. I know that almost happened to me. Luckily it didn't, because I landed on Pace.
Yes.
But and they don't, nothing is happening, they want to give up, and that was her thing. And she ended up, having that proof of concept with us. So I'm grateful to have started that workshop when I came here.
That's an amazing story. And a couple questions. So who is the newbie? Let's give a shout out to this newbie that you helped make their first deal.
Her name is Polly.
Polly, okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Polly. Yeah, I think she actually now moved out of the U.S.
Come again?
I think she now moved out of the U.S. recently. Her and her husband, they decided to relocate in I think, is it Puerto Rico? Somewhere like right after that closing. So
Wow. Oh, and that's what's so cool is like you don't know if you're going to meet people for a reason, a season, a lesson, or a lifetime in this industry. Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like I mean, when I met Tiana, we were committed to be prayer partners, and like that kind of we went through storms personally and professionally, and then just got back and started talking again. And that's what's so cool about this community. Meet up at Squat Up. Mwah, mwah, what's up, girl? Hey, I saw you like 2 minutes and that's it. Mamadou, I heard about you for the first time through Kalisha. Again, it's just like I'm not always like in the Zooms. I'm out doing different things. And so I was like, Mamadou, that's like a cool name. Like I need to like know this dude. And then sure enough, I am usually the Tuesday host, but today I switched with Jason. And I was like, oh, Mamadou, I meant to reach out to him after Kalisha and totally like, totally forgot. So that's the power of community is Here you go. Hosting something for free, somebody pours money, and not all mentorships are the same. I went to one membership, and I won't call out the name because I don't do that. But one of the people told me I was going to be up to my neck and drowning in 2 months, and I was like, were you with me when I was hiding in the closet when I was 12 years old, saving up money to get on a one-way ticket to Virginia? No, but who are you to make that just because I wasn't going to buy into their $40,000 a year program? It was $40,000 for 1 year. And I just was like, wow. And that's when I was like, I was only at that point, I was in sub 2 at that point. Well, no, I wasn't. It was before sub 2. I started Gator first, and then I started investing in myself because I'm transitioning from nursing. And that was my moment that I was like, wow, these things aren't all made the same. And I came from like overly trusting because in my profession, you do have to trust. You can't fail forward or you kill people if you mess up a decimal point, right? And so I came from a very trusting like profession. You have, if someone says they're going to give blood or someone's going to give the medicine to keep someone alive or check something, if they don't do it, they die. And so like that was my biggest learning curve coming from nursing into business was like I trusted, like trust is earned too, right? So when I went to that mentorship, I was like, I remember the guy, he looked similar to you, Mamadou. He was actually from Dominican Republic and was living in Arizona. We both looked at each other. We're like, did that just happen? He's like, yeah. And I was like, wow, that was kind of ghetto. He's like, yeah, I know it was. I was like, okay, I thought I was having an out-of-body experience. And so, and then you come into like the Pace community, it's like, like everybody winning, everybody is closing. And that's the difference about the quality too of people that you meet along the way. And you want everybody to win, and we will go to great lengths like Mamadou has by creating free resources and tools, not to mention all the other creative stuff that's out there that's on YouTube University.
100%.
Ever. Like there's so much. You can get like a degree practically off of YouTube, right?
In anything, guys.
Really can.
Anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like going to the library and looking up the Encyclopedia Britannica and pulling out You only have the GTS now, right?
Yo, listen, we're in an era where I was testing that yesterday. You can talk to Chat GPT, which is an AI platform.
Oh my goodness,
those who you don't know. So you can be on the phone as a fresh newbie, talking to a seller. You get an objection, you type it quickly on Chat GPT, and you get an answer in a sec. I don't care. I don't care how complicated the question is about the creative finance. It will give it to you with the. It will tell you where to find the list. So the excuses is completely out of the window. But for whatever reason, the more it gets simpler, the more excuses people have. You see, there was one thing that I had, because I've honestly helped a lot of newbies with all the teachings as well. Is I tell them this thing that I said in the beginning. I said, if you live here, I'm talking about you live here, you grow up here. Yeah. English is your first language. Is my fifth language.
Wow.
English, is a self-taught. The English I'm talking right now is self-taught, not even taught in school. And you live here, grew up here, and you don't understand that this is such a privilege. Because if I could do this in Europe, and when I tell people look at me like, I'm like, yeah, just wholesaling alone, forget about everything else. You can go, I don't know if people realize this. You can literally find an ugly house. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. But finding an ugly house and just sell the contract, I promise you guys, this concept alone for me, it was like, okay, give me 10 years. You know, because if once you build from here, it's game over because of all the skills you have to build when you're going through this. It's like it's sales, it's marketing, is you have to become a business owner, you have to start reading because you got to change your mindset. You don't realize it because you thought you were real estate, but no, you're a problem solver. So you have to like kind of start, right? So it's like, guys, like I don't know, understand, because I remember in my Uber, like young people will complain about, you know, when I say young people, my age or younger, is like they'll complain about whatever here, whatever they complain about. I'm like, okay. But bro, if I just arrived here and I can drive in my Uber and find, I don't know what you're talking about, and English is your first language, you have zero excuse. I don't care what you say, I don't want to hear it. And so it's amazing to me. I'll be honest with you, it's amazing to me.
You guys are in a tough market, because the last thing I heard, like BlackRock practically owns like I think like 80% of Atlanta now, don't they? Like, so you guys are in a tough market because you're competing with, like, you know, between China and BlackRock. Let's be clear, like taking over house by house, it's like, you know, like I got that one from you. Like this is now becomes personal because this is our country. And so people like us, we need to take back the land and the houses one by one, so we can at least give these, you know, hedgies a little run for their money.
I agree. I agree.
There's the other day I was reading an article on an investment company that I came across, and this was current, and this is real, true facts. This company wants to stay incognito. They own 130 LLCs, and they own currently over 1,900 houses, and they have no plans of slowing down. At all.
They grow big really quick. And just like Mamadou was saying, you get the right people at the right time, things can happen. And it's losing that imposter syndrome and that fear, face everything and rise, or face everything and run, is what I say. And that's why this is so important, is because, you can make mistakes along the way, but those mistakes can be corrected too. It's not like in medicine. And that's what I had to learn, is like, I'm not going to kill somebody. My partner was, Kim, what are you concerned about? I'm like, because I have a very high level of standard and morality and ethics, because that's what I come from. So you get nervous to make a mistake because you're dealing with people's lives. Like one of the houses I have in Lansing, unfortunately the partnership is breaking up, but you know, the person was in jail because they did something terrible to their family. And the seller, I gave them 15 grand to walk away, and we took it over at 2.8%. And we provided a solution to somebody that really would have gotten into trouble. People don't realize that this can be your passion and philanthropy combined with profit.
Yes.
I don't even tell people. I talked to a seller today and I said, I am a nurse by trade, and I solve problems creatively and strategically with depending on the unique situation. I don't even say that I'm an investor, because like people, when you say investor, they instantly think hedge fund, BlackRock, we're going to steal your houses, we're going to trick you. And there's so many scams. Like there's fake title companies, there's fake lease companies, like there's scams all over of people, like, you know, getting, hey, quick claim deed the title over here and spend money to my personal bank account. And people do it because
they do it.
They do it.
Absolutely, they do. Oh yeah.
They do.
That has happened to me when I was brand new. This fake investor in Atlanta said he had a house under contract and he wanted a partner, and he needed to pay earnest money, and he paid the earnest money, but he wanted to get reimbursed. So dummy me at that moment, because I didn't know, I gave him the money. And then I was like, wait, where's the contract? And then it was time to go meet and talk about it. There was no contract. I'm an agent, so I was able to dig and I'm very investigative. So I found out, and I called him out on it, and he kind of disappeared. So then I called his dad. I looked his dad up on LinkedIn. I was like, no, you're not playing with my money. You need to pay me back. And he finally sent me the money back.
Wow.
I threatened to call the police on him. I was like, dude, no. You're not doing that. There's so many of them out there.
I've seen all kind of things, especially dealing with pre-foreclosures, because these homeowners go through a lot. Most of them are completely financially not literate. They don't understand nothing that's going on. And so how many sellers I've talked to that they have a wholesaler or whoever pretend to be an investor under contract, and you can tell from a mile away once you ask them the details that this is a scam.
Right.
I've even ran into this on a virtual deal in Phoenix. There is a realtor license going around locking up pre-foreclosure sellers under contract. And the way he's structuring it is purposefully for them to lose their house at the auction because he buys them there. Literally.
Oh my gosh.
And he's now known in that area for that. I'm
Wow.
like, why has nobody sued this guy and taken him to jail, right?
No.
So people it's real life stuff. There's some of these
Yeah.
people play with their lives because we had two ladies here where these investors lack her under contract. They're not willing. It's been 2 months. They're giving her the runaround. Now she's lost all this time. The house is about to go to auction, right? They don't want to cancel the contract. They cannot close. Obviously, I'm like, of course, it's a scam because either one, they want us to put you on the contract at the right number because they don't know what they're doing. Then, because they have filed a list pendants, a memorandum on your title, force us to pay them a 5 or 10K fee, even though they haven't done anything, right? Or two, they just want you to lose it because there might be a buyer at the auction. Because I've seen that a lot. Like literally, I've seen that a lot, right? So it's a real. And then, guys, you gotta. This is a huge advantage. For example, here I'm right 14 minutes from the airport here in Atlanta, and there is apartment buildings right now. If you go outside my property here, there's apartment buildings being raised like it's nothing. It's crazy, right? Now, you might look at this and go, oh, this is the South, blah, blah, blah. In few years, you're going to cry why you didn't get in right now and own some land here or some real estate here, something, because like this is the advantage you have with these big companies is that one, everybody hates them. The regular people hate them. So that's a huge advantage. You can go in and tell them, hey, you're just a number on these people's what.
Yeah.
I don't know how many deals I've closed where I was competing with OfferPad and Zillow and all these people. Like I just go in on them. Like, hey, this is the same people causing. You hate gentrification, right? These are the people. Listen to me, right? You might as well keep it. If you don't have the finances, you might as well sell it to a little guy. We will keep it. Don't worry about it. So that's a huge, look at it as an opportunity and get as many as you can. Be creative. Build relationships because capital is king. Don't let nobody lie to you. Cash is king. I'm telling you right now.
Agree, 100%.
Don't let no guru lie to you, guys. Cash is king. So
it is. It's totally king. And you made some amazing points. And that's why it's so very important to protect this community at all costs. And so it never gets tainted because like I was speaking with a seller today too, and she's a business owner and she also has sales and marketing. And she was telling me like all the people that were calling and all these different things. And I sat with her for 45 minutes and just educated her about what to look out for. I told her about, like you said, in Europe, like all we need to do is pay 10 cents. And we can skip trades. One time I called, I was trying to get a house for myself in an area because I'm in transition right now. And like the lady was freaked out because it was a cop family. And actually, my father-in-law was murdered in the line of duty, and my ministry is based off of just a small inheritance that we received in honor for my kids. And she got really nervous and scared. And I told her, I was like, this is public information. You can go to the county and you can get this information, but this is how we do it. Like, if you take time to explain instead of being transactional and be relational, you can educate that person, and it changes the whole tone when you take time, and you never know where that relationship is going to lead. 100%. You plant the seeds and you let them grow, and then it's in destiny's fate after that, right? 100%. And that's why it's so important to have those high level of standards of ethics, so it's not tainted. It's not stained, because otherwise people hear these strategies and these structures and it freaks them out. And that's what I tell people a lot too. Like, solve the problem at hand. Maybe they don't want to do a sub-2 land contracts. Everyone understands land contracts in the Midwest, or executory contracts, bonds for deed, depending on where you're at. People understand that in the Midwest. And so I always can pitch that too. Like, well, what are your goals? And a lot of times people just want to close and they don't want to understand the problem. So you made some amazing points, Mamadou. That's awesome. Who you should do? Do you have kids? Do you have a child?
Yes,
said you
yes.
have
My
a daughter
daughter,
who's
my
5.
daughter is just stepping. I
Oh,
actually
your
got
daughter, come in
a,
and say hi. She can come in and say hi.
I
We
know
love kids on the shows if she
I
wants. If
got
she's not
a, I
shy.
got 3,
Oh wow.
and one of them is only 10 days old, brand new.
Oh, you have
Oh
a
my goodness.
newborn. Oh wow. How old are
Yeah.
your kids,
Oh,
Mamadou? So 10 days
I
old
have
and
5, and then I have going to 2, and then the 10 days old.
wow.
oh, congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you.
So if the audience gets anything out of here, if someone can come from a refugee camp and learn different languages, and you speak more eloquently than me, and English is my only language. I'm like poquito español, and come in here and lead groups and close. Hello, like you are proof of concept, my guy.
You know, Kim, there's something I say all the time. When I arrive in the US, I'm like, people over here talk English. They don't speak English. They don't realize this. It's not because English is your first language, because communication is a true skill. That's what sales is.
Agreed.
And
Yes.
if you see me talking like this, go watch my videos 1 year ago. I wasn't talking like this. This is very
Mhm.
intentional. This is very
Mhm.
Yeah.
practiced. I challenge myself. I read books. I do public speaking.
Wow.
My
Mhm.
teaching was not only I love to help people, but it was also selfish because I wanted to learn this exact skill. The more
Yeah.
I teach people that don't know nothing, I'm learning how to explain, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So it's like is a skill. Sales is pure communication. I don't care
It is.
if you're gonna sell yourself one day, be on stage, be on podcast, whatever. If I
Yep.
ask you your name and you go boom, and it's like, brother, you can't even introduce yourself. I don't know how you can. Yeah, thank you. How you can close the seller. So that's sales, guys, is effective communication. The great
Mhm.
thing about nowadays real estate wholesaling, guys, you don't even have to be a marketer.
Mhm.
You don't even have to be the marketer anymore. What I mean by that is you don't even have to figure out strategies and ways to find the leads and be creative. You can buy inbound leads. You can go to ChatGPT and have all the things. You can go online and get the data free. So now you need to focus on the sales part, which is effectively communicating with the sellers, explaining to them things very clearly,
Mhm.
breaking it down for them, giving them third-party stories. So all these things is practice. Me
Mhm.
personally now, especially with my team, and I'm so lucky that I started the workshop because that's exactly where I built my team from. This is from a gut feeling that I moved to Atlanta, but I know it was God's work, right? I
Mhm.
followed my intuition. But my business partner now, we all like decided to combine resources. We live together, we train together,
Oh
we do
wow.
business together, and the house we have here is super super big, and we bought it sub 2 from a pre-foreclosure seller.
Wow.
But with that being said, guys, you cannot be around me and not be intentional about your communication. I don't want to hear around me. I don't want to hear ums. We have a debate table. You have to learn how to debate topics. You have to learn how to. So communication, guys, be obsessed with it if you're gonna be in this business, because whether you're raising money, you're gonna have to communicate effectively.
Mhm.
Life essentially is a communication, guys. If you want to marry a woman, for example, you better
Mhm.
be a better communicator and a closer than all the 200 other people in her DMs. All right. So communication is so key. So this is intentional. Like people think just because I talk English that I speak English. No, you can talk English and not
Mhm.
speak English. Don't confuse the two.
Right. That's again, my mind is like circling all around, like, wow, you are just a bundle of nuggets, and agree 100%.
Mhm.
In nursing, I had to establish trust really quickly. Like I just was like, I put someone's patella back in place on my living room floor. The kid, I'm like, look at my eyes, we're doing this. You have to establish that trust in life or death
100%.
situations. And so now it's just transitioning. But again, that transition can be a little bumpy when you question yourself, when you think you're not going to use the right words, a lot of a lot of filler words. Like
Mhm.
speech is a lost art because people essentially have stopped communicating on some level through COVID. And like
Yeah.
when I was on the farms of Southwest Michigan, I had an interpreter, but sometimes that interpreter wouldn't make it because they would get sick. And so I had to figure out what my patient was trying to say when there was a line of 45 migrants out there waiting to get
Mhm.
treated. I'm like, okay, we're going to like do charades and like you
Yeah.
you find a way to communicate
Yeah.
like ouch, oucho pain. Like, I made it through. They laughed, but they thought I was crazy. I'd be like, loco, gringo, troquillo, español. Like
Oh
I
my
made
gosh.
it fun, but like
I would have loved to see that.
Oh, it was like a circus. Like I was picking cockroaches out of ears and scabies and stuff. And I was like, where? Like, and Mamadou is so right. You will find a way with limited resources. If you can really communicate, you will find a way around it. 100%. You just do, you know, so that's amazing. So Tiana, let's go over to you. We know what you've done. You've done some amazing stuff already. What are your plans, like short-term, mid-term, long-term? What do you need in your business? Like, give us a breakdown of that. How can people connect with you? If IG is the best way, give us just a lowdown of what your goals are, what you need in your business, and where you're going.
So current goals right now, I'm looking for 2 more properties to flip here in Atlanta. Just finished my first one and sold it in July, which was awesome. Yeah.
Is that crazy one that I know about?
Yes. Yeah. It's a full gut renovation. So I learned it everything from A to Z. Looking for 2 more right now because I've got 2 amazing partners, separate partners. So immediate, and then I'm also, just like I was mentioning earlier, I just signed a contract with somebody else in the sub-2 community who's in another state, who's also a unicorn agent. So I can start getting some more deals, some more listings, some more sub-2s, some more wholesales, some more, all the things creative. And I want to teach other people how to do that. And I want to bring some more people on my team, agents. And I just want to grow this thing. I want everybody to win. I want everybody to make money, and I want to be supportive to other people. And you could reach me on Instagram, or I'm on Facebook too. So, yeah.
So, I mean, here's a contact right here. Mamadou, you guys are like in your backyard, essentially. You guys
know.
Yeah. We definitely need to connect because we do use agents all the time on net listings and all these things. So,
yeah, I would love that. I feel like, and also I feel like the 3 of us all connect, because I'm a Christian as well. And I'm very involved in my church community. I have a ministry as well. There's probably 39 nations in my church that I go to.
Ooh,
yeah. And most of them are African. So, and I love it. I'm super happy to be involved. And so, yeah, I would love
very cool.
And Kim, I already DM'd you on IG because we got to talk about that book because I'm so ready. I just don't know how, even the first step, where to start.
Right. I can definitely help you there. And it's interesting too, that how this all worked. And this is why I always say nothing is by chance and everything happens for a reason, a season, a lesson, or a lifetime, because I'm not usually the Friday host. And Taya's like, hey, can you switch with Jason? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I saw it was, Tiana and Mamadou. I was like, oh my goodness, this is like amazing. And so I literally was going to reach out to my publisher because I wanted to start a project because it's a female company, but I wanted to start like a project of like She Rises with his help, or integrate because I think there's so much drama and division with men and female. And I myself am going through a divorce after, 20 years, and we're working together. I mean, I still stay like father-in-law because I'm still yoked because we have children and we want the best for our teenage boys.
Yeah.
And so their dad has been very supportive. I hate to call him my ex. It's just kind of sounds weird. He's been very supportive on my journey. He's even been my private money lender.
Oh, nice.
He's helped me get into deals.
That's
he was
amazing.
the one that, so shout out to Scott. He was the one that suggested getting a podcast because for whatever reason, he forgot that I was doing this. And so I was like, I want to create a book that she rises through him, whether it's God, whatever God, like, I don't care what God you serve, as long as you put your card away and you're not mean to like animals or children, I'm going to pray. Like I have my God, which is the Lord Jesus Christ. But if you serve someone else, cool. I stay in my lane and I'm going to sing the gospel and sing his praises, but everyone's welcome, right? Like that's just me. That's just how I am. And I actually wanted to get together and do some kind of compilation and bring other stories. And so, yes, we're going to definitely, and that gives me an excuse to come down to Georgia because I have not been to Georgia, and I have and I have an RV too, so I can like scoot on down there and just park here. I can park in y'all driveways, be like, hey, what are we doing today?
It's a must visit.
Come visit. Yep.
Yes, for sure. And here we have another. I'm in North Georgia.
Oh,
Tiana
boom.
Mamadou. Look, I'm reading his thing. Marmadew. Like Marmadew. There you go.
No,
423-635-2774.
I did a screenshot,
I
James.
took a picture of it. I took a
So,
picture, James. I'm gonna text you.
And just to
Yeah,
let
me
you
too.
guys know too, this is on YouTube Universe for the Morby Media team does such a stellar job. They do things stat, like this will go right into the Creative Podcast under Pace's channel, and it'll be there forever for people to see that. And that's what is so cool about these conversations is someone might connect with you guys 5 months down the line, like after I had my interview with Pace that talked about a little bit of my story. We talked about real estate a little bit. I still have people connecting with me saying, you know what, I almost committed suicide if it wasn't for hearing your story. So literally God puts you in the places and gives you the platforms. And when he opens those doors, no one's closing those doors. And so it just goes through a testimony. We're exactly where we need to be. So this is amazing. This is exactly why I love these conversations. I mean,
we've talked about that several times. We need to share our stories more. Like we've both been through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of trauma, overcome a lot. And so,
and that's the thing is being transparent and authentic. Like they say, the vibration of authenticity is 4,000 times greater than love. So that's why sometimes I'll find myself listening to a guy talk about his hip surgery replacement at Meyer for a half hour. And I'm just like, you know, and the same thing with you guys. You guys attract the people that need you in your life, you know, and you go through trials and tribulations and all the things in between. So Mamadou, same question for you. Where are you going? What are your plans? What do you need? How can people connect with you? Give us the breakdown on that.
Right now I'm going into multifamily. I want a new venture.
Yay.
I've done everything that you know of in single family. Personally, I no longer want to do buy and hold for single family. It's just not worth the headache.
Same.
I do split. There you go. Okay, I'm not alone.
I'm never doing
you're not
that.
alone. I just had this epiphany. Yeah, the nuances.
Who is that other guru that say if it has one door, stay away from it? But the one door buy and hold, no longer interested. But flipping, I do flip here in Atlanta all the time. I have a few right now, and then wholesale. But as far as like the multifamily, looking to get into that, so that's a new world for me. Haven't done it yet. So it's private money mainly. Looking to raise a lot of capital to get into that, and that's the new phase. And then do business acquisition. So my team and I were looking to do business acquisition as well. Basically focus on tasks that generate more cash, you know, because I understood recently that yes, cash is king. It doesn't matter what opportunities comes.
Yeah.
If you don't have cash, don't even talk about it because you broke. So stack your cash. Don't believe the gurus that say, you know, go down to zero because they have $10 million cash in their bank account laying down. The day you're about to lose your home, they'll come and buy it. All right. Don't listen to it because they have the which is great, by the way. They should have, but I'm just saying they're telling you one thing, they're doing another thing. Is they have the mentorships, they have the sales courses, they have the events, they have these big brands, and they've been doing it for 45 years. So they have so much active cash income, and they're telling you that just started your journey, go down to zero every time you get cash. Don't do it. Stack your cash, stack your cash, stack your cash, and get ready for opportunities. I mean, we don't know where, you know, the market is heading, what's happening out here. So definitely stack your cash in case a big opportunity comes around. Raise money, build a relationship. But that's the new phase for us, is really multifamily and business acquisition and digital money. So we're looking into you know, doing things digitally, like, you know, teaching people online and selling it and so on.
Nice. And to spin off of that, a couple things too. Going back to Tiana, when we were having like some, you know, how you lose your train of thought when the audio, going back to how you lost money, only send money to title companies, but also make sure that title company, there are fake title companies that have pictures, that have names, that have escrow processors. Now you have to physically almost send a drone or Uber Eats to make sure that there's actually a title company.
True.
So that's one thing. Like, it's crazy. It's getting crazy. Like, even calling now is not enough. Like, I'm in all 3 mentorships. I did top tier. I'm in Gator and sub 2. I just did that just to be a better investor because I just started getting into all the things. But that's one point. And then also, I like your capital stack and being diverse. And there's other strategies like having non-grant or irrevocable spendthrift trust that operates off a contract law, not legislative, where you can then use strategies so you don't have to do 1031s, and you can roll that into your businesses, and you can roll that into things like infinite banking and whole life policies and become your own bank. Like, whatever season you're in, you can find a structure or a strategy to offset those tax imprints on what you're trying to do. If cash is king, cash is king. Just make sure that you have that in a safe in case your house burns down, because everyone has their level of risk of, some people are like me, pushing 50 and YOLO, right? And so I like to be diversified and have money all over, coins and gold and all that stuff, and
100%.
assets here, and to be able to liquidate, because yes, we are not those gurus like Cardone and all those other ones that, can walk around with $5 in our pocket because we can sell something or take, no, that's not the case. Like, clone yourself, great. I wish I could clone myself, but people can't have the conversations like I have on the phone when they're talking to a practitioner that has a PhD in cardiothoracic surgery or anesthesiology. They can't speak the same language that I can speak. So when I'm trying to capital raise and make relationships, so I stay within those SEC guidelines of having that personal relationship, so I don't have to go get a fund. Someone can't have that same conversation of what it's like to have someone on ECMO, and they can't have that conversation. Only I can have that conversation. So what applies to some don't apply to everyone else. And I love that sentiment, Mamadou. That's our goal.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Exactly.
That's the goal. So we can fly to Alaska and fly to Orlando and go to community camp in Montana and be like,
you can follow Pace everywhere.
Right.
And guys, remember, everybody with their journey. Some of these people have been doing this for 45 years. You barely started. And by the way, when I say cash, for the people that are not financially literate, I mean disposable assets that is quickly disposable. Not like
you
the
can
cash.
liquidate,
Not the fake paper. Forget about the fake paper. I'm talking about like liquidable, because real estate, especially single family, in down markets, is the last thing that people want. It's hard to flip. It's hard to rent. It's hard to so that's what I mean by that. So if all your money is tied to single family now, on this market alone, I've sold a lot of single family because I'm like, shit, I gotta cash out and get some of this liquid. This is draining, is a headache. I'm making $200. I have all this money tied in. Nobody wants it now. I gotta flip it 50 grand less because of the market. So that's what I mean, guys. So you can have it in coins, you can have it in, as long as you can sell it like overnight, get your money and get into an opportunity that you just saw. That's what I mean by cash. Don't get it confused.
That's why our prefrontal cortexes were connecting. Because see, that's the thing, is because you need to have exits to your exit, because the market can change. And if you don't have an exit, then what's your, you can always, and this is what I love about things that are protected under the FHA, the Fair Housing Act, is because if you don't have an exit, like say you're not cash flowing very well for the single family, well, guess what? You can do sober living. You can do residential assisted living. You can solve a problem. And that's what I like about attaching a business with real estate, because you have a business and you have a tangible asset that you can hold or you can sell. You can keep the business. You can sell the house. Hi, what's up?
Oh, your mic is off. Can't hear you.
What's happening, sugar? I like your hair. It's so pretty.
Y'all ready for bed already?
She's about to.
It's 6 o'clock. Wait, are you on a different time zone?
No,
I know,
she's a baby.
She just came back. She might have to go take a
She's
nap.
already closing deals. She's already in Gator lending EMD to wholesalers. What do you mean?
She's helped me close so many deals because when she was born, I was helping her mom. So I was in North Carolina, so I would hold her here and cold call. And my absolute opening to build rapport was, hey, I got my daughter here in case she cries. And then he built this instant rapport, and they're like, oh, you have your daughter. Boom, icebreaker. So I owe her a few checks when she get to the right
there
age.
You go. Start rolling it up into different, buying the assets and buying off your liabilities. That's awesome. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation. You guys are rock stars.
Thank you.
Now this definitely, I'm going to make it I'm putting it out there in the universe. By the end of 2025, I will be in Georgia, meeting you guys in person, giving you, well, Tiana, I've already met you, but like literally for a microsecond, right? Like I'm going to be like up in my RV in your driveways being like, hey.
Yeah, but I want to like hang out with you.
Where are you local to, Kim? Where are you local to?
I'm in the, let's see if you get this right. I'm in the state shaped like a mitten. Do 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 do.
There's a lake.
We're surrounded by water. We have the most. I like to speak in riddles, like my trust advisor does. I always have to figure him out. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, so I'm surrounded by water. We have the most fresh water anywhere else in the U.S. And there's two parts of my state. There's an upper and there's a lower. And we have wineries. I'm on the wine trail. We produce the most cherries in the whole entire country. We have the most grapes. Welch's buys all of them.
It's north. It's north.
I'm due north, my guy. Midwest is best. The Midwest is always underrated. We have good houses. We have good food. We have good, like everyone overlooks the Midwest. It's just what happens. They think we're like corn sweat and corn.
I don't think I've ever been up there.
No one's been there. They're like, everyone makes fun of my state.
Has Pace been there and done a deal?
Yes, Pace has been there last time this year on my birthday. He signed the book Wealth Without Cash for my birthday.
The name is on my throat.
It starts with an M.
M?
M.
Is it Michigan? No.
Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, there's an upper and lower peninsula. So I'm right here. We use our hand for everything. So I border Indiana and Illinois. So it's an hour and a half to Chicago, and it's about 3 hours east-west, depending on where you're talking about from Detroit. Yeah.
Listen, anytime, Atlanta, we're here. We got you. Anytime. Would love to definitely connect in person. So
we'll do a meetup.
Yeah,
that would be great. We definitely need to make that happen for sure. So anyone out there listening, if anyone has any wins that want to end up on this show, email Taya at TAYA@pacemorby.com and we will have you on the show.
Absolutely. You guys are all rock stars. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Tiana, Mamadou. Oh my God. You guys are like an amazing blessing. I say that with all my teeth showing because
thank you.
You're so welcome. We love for people to be on the show, telling us about their wins, but also the struggles, you know, what to look out for. People that are newbies, they don't know that there are title companies that are not real. Like, what does that mean? You know, what does that mean? Right? And so as you guys were talking about those things, I'm like, oh my God, those are nuggets. Please reach out to the gentleman that we put his information up. He really wants to touch base with you guys. You guys are rock stars once you're on the show. Of course, you're rock stars before, but we do thank you so much for being on here with us. And for those of you who are watching who want to know where Pace is right now, I can give you tomorrow on where Pace will be. So tomorrow Pace will be in Las Vegas. Pace will be at what's called the Funnel Hacking event, or Funnel Hacking Live with Russell Brunson, and he'll be speaking there, I believe, on the 7th. Okay, if you're in Las Vegas, head on over and check my man out. He's going to be killing it as he always does. And also on the 13th through the 15th, we have the Clever Summit that's coming up. Okay, the Clever Summit is going to be in Hollywood, Florida, and that's going to be happening. Yes, the 13th through the 15th, not the 14th. All right, and Jamil will be there. Pace will be there, as well as Vina Jetty. The beautiful and amazing Vina Jetty will be there. I'm surprised Kimberly's not going to be there. Kimberly, why don't you have something? Yeah,
I know it's my birthday week next week.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Yeah, I turned 49. And why don't you tell them, so Derek's calling all of us rock stars. I want Derek to put out in the universe what he's about ready to do in December.
Oh Lord!
I didn't get a chance to read your text. What are you doing, Derek?
Yeah.
So I met Kimberly at the wonderful Squad Up Summit earlier. I always say last year, but that was in April, and it was a great time. But a half Ironman. I'm doing a half Ironman.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I've been training like a madman. My wife has been like on me. My wife has been like my in-house coach. It's been good. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, Kimberly talked me into it. But I was already kind of going down that path.
Yeah.
But Kimberly was like, stop playing. She treated me like Pace does, you know. stop training and reading and get out there and make some cold calls. All right, just go.
Ooh,
yeah, that's how she came at me. So it's a pleasure to meet you, Mamadou and Tiana. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. This is such a blessing for this community.
Agreed.
And me, I've taken a lot of notes. My God, you guys are full of wisdom and understanding. This is good.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me, and definitely looking forward to connecting with everybody offline. Appreciate it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Thanks again, Derek. You're amazing.
You guys
Have
are
a good
amazing,
night.
guys. You guys have a good one. You guys
Boom.
take care.
You too.
Adios. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.